So this is episode one of this logging experience. I made an episode zero, which I at least episode zero I said on private. I don't know if I'm gonna set this one on private too for now. But if this is ever gonna go online, this is officially episode one, and I really want to start this logging experience off with I think maybe the biggest uh, speed bump you could say in this whole journey is the question, but you are Christian, and what do you think God thinks of this? Well, I cannot speak for God myself. We do, I believe that I have a personal relationship with Him, which is an honor to say, by the way, and I believe that I saw this really beautiful post by this Instagram account called Ballers in God for, Christian footballers and football players. And it was about the idea. You saw this picture of Messi, the iconic one where he just points upwards. And that idea of fame as a Christian is okay as long as you point your praise upwards. And I think that that really resonated with me because when you, as so long as you do that, if you think about it, I had this issue with having idols in the beginning, I kind of hate that word still, idols. I prefer, maybe heroes or inspirations. But idols, that same word in the Bible is used as, a god to a person, which isn't God himself. But I believe that it's okay to have an inspiration, uh, as in the sense that an idol means nothing more than an inspiration of a person who you strive to be like, and I believe that God also encourages us to have quote unquote idols in the Bible. There are a lot of heroes, whether it be Samson, whether it be David, whether it be Solomon, and the whole thing of there are Christians that say you shouldn't have an idol because your idols are imperfect and they make mistakes and they are not gods, and that's true. But if you think about it, that's exactly the point in the Bible also for those quote unquote idols or heroes, because well, if we think about David, we usually think about this heroic figure who killed Goliath while just being a shepherd boy. But if you really dig into scripture, into Samuel 2, then you really, Second Samuel, then you really see this broken figure who you could say almost failed in his manhood, somebody who has this broken family, who failed to be a father and still pointed praise toward God. And even though he made all of these failures, on which I'm not even gonna name it, you read it yourself, but all of those shortcomings of him, still he praised his God, and his God acknowledged his heart, even though his heart was imperfect and failing to be perfectly aligning with God. And still, God calls Jesus, his own son, a descendant of David. That's insane. That's so insane, But yeah, that's just a quick example of you could say those people are kind of like celebrities. They are also famous. They are heroes, but just like real life celebrities, they have their imperfections. But the differences between most celebrities, you could say in Hollywood or something, that don't follow God, and the celebrities in the Bible that do, is that they point their praise upwards. And I believe that so long as we do that, and the most important thing is discussing it with God, and that's why it's just such a joy. We may rejoice in that personal relationship with Him, because of that personal relationship we have with Him, we can discuss everything with Him, and He'll give us what we need, and he will fulfill our heart's desire is in his word. That's what's written. And I believe that he'll do the same thing with me, and when the time is right, the Lord will make it happen. You know, there's of course something with Christians saying, yeah, well, that's not a context of this certain verse that's very motivating for, you know, people becoming great and all that. But to those people, you know, I just really want to tell you that, okay, it may not be written in that certain context, but are you gonna limit the God that you serve, the God that opened the seas? Are you gonna limit him to just the miracles in that time and those specific miracles for those specific persons in those certain contexts? Or do you believe he is still alive and he still is able to do those type of miracles? And he still is able to fulfill your dreams so long as you point your praise upwards. You know, that's just a quick brainstorm. This is going to be a little bit longer than the previous episode, but I really wanted, you know, to. I'm expecting a lot of confidence after I stopped recording this one, because this is really to affirm my, you know, my destiny with Christ, and to, you know, say that um, that God is with me even in this journey, because I have the talents that have been given by Him to me, and I'm gonna put this in practice, you know, which is very biblical practice. And so I think that's it. So thank you for watching again.